Oh, laying down the slow groove.
Doing something a little different today. I'm in a slow mood.
Slow mood. It's Wednesday.
This is a great new song I found. I'm gonna ease into this one.
I'm gonna have to channel my Barry White.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I can't hear you. I'm gonna have to channel my Barry White now as the intro. Hey everybody, it's Wednesday with Johanna and James. JJ, Double J in the house.
Hump day in the house. What's going on, you guys?
Hey everybody. All right, it is, as we said, J&J. This is our Wednesday, our weekly Wednesday get together, dropping some insights and sharing some knowledge with you in regards to social media strategy made simple and simple strategy to fulfill your business and personal dreams, goals, bucket list items, whatever it may be. So, of course, with me as always is Johanna Hunt, thebomb.com herself. And last few weeks, Jojo, we've been talking about or having discussions about branding, about understanding one's brand, understanding one's avatar, understanding one's audience, really having those kind of foundation cornerstones uncovered and the importance of doing so that we can create impactful, congruent content that converts. And that is the subject of today's live.
Yes. Awesome. I love it. I'm going to share this over real quick.
Congruent content.
All right.
I like
it.
All right.
I like when you do the intro. I like when you introduce me. Let's talk about me some more. No, I'm just kidding.
From parts unknown. Hailing from half Austria, half Northern California, Europe, wherever. You froze.
Oh, did I? No.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
There I am. No, I was just listening intently to you talking about me. You know, memory just popped up today of me booking my trip to Europe and San Diego under the influence of one James Gardner.
One James.
Conversation last year.
Shit, what is the date today? So I think you and I did our first Facebook Live at some point. It was probably what, the 12th, 11th? It was right around now, wasn't it?
It was right around now.
It was right around now because I left for Rhode Island for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
At this time of the year.
And we had a conversation, and then I booked. You checked in with me, and then by that time I'd already booked 2 flights out of Canada.
Shocking. Pulling a JoJo, ladies and gentlemen. That's where it comes from.
Yeah, you learn quickly.
Hey,
okay, guys, let's dive into content. So I'm chitty-chatting today. Yeah. How do we want to kick this up? Okay, so you are
the master of disaster when it comes to content. This is your wheelhouse. So
I am the queen of consistency in content, and by consistency, I don't mean just posting content consistently. I mean consistency with compelling, congruent, and converting content, right? And I think probably the biggest pain I hear from entrepreneurs who are wanting to build on social media, regardless of what profession or industry they're in, they always share with me, like, how do you consistently show up? Like, that's one of the things they notice, first of all, is you are more consistent than anybody I've seen online. And then the other thing is that they feel overwhelmed with how do you come up with that much content consistently. So, here's the thing. First, I want to cover, like, what are the 4 components you need to have in place when it comes to creating content that's going to convert into relationships, referrals, new customers, clients, new signups, new team, new partnerships, podcasts and interviews, things like that, right? I finally made my way through my inbox yesterday, and I had a ton of invites for interviews, and people. One message I hadn't responded to in so long, she couldn't remember who put my name down for this summit. And so when you're putting yourself out there, a lot of people have this mindset of like, oh, I need to put something out there so people buy or people like or people engage. And they'll put a piece out and then they sit and they post and they pray and they wait and they think to themselves like, okay, this isn't getting a big response, and they get discouraged. And you need to really adopt the entrepreneur mindset that not everything that you do is going to have an immediate result or immediate transaction. And so we'll talk more about that next week when we talk about the compound effect. But I really want to encourage you to, one, just trust the process of creating content. And it will make your life so much easier in the long run if you master creating content. But you will start to be the one who is sought after versus the one who is chasing after people, and it'll position you as a credible expert and somebody that people will start to look for and trust and listen to, right? So those are the reasons you want to do it. So your content needs to be clear. You need to have clarity on your vision, your values, your truths, your perspectives. So this is a lot of the branding piece, which we've talked about, right, where people think it's their banner and their imaging and their logos and their colors. But this is more about like your mission statement, right? And your story and things that you need to understand about yourself that you need to weave into all the pieces of content. This is what makes you relatable. This is what builds the trust factor. This is why somebody's going to coach with you and not somebody else.
Right.
Why somebody's going to do real estate with you and not somebody else, or your banking or whatever. Second is compelling. So compelling is really, it's social proof. It's convincing in a sense, but I don't like the word convincing. You should never convince somebody of something. It's about showing, it's demonstrating value. It's demonstrating what working with you looks like. And it's compelling in having testimonials and having social proof and stories that show people, okay, this isn't just somebody, blowing smoke up my ass. This is somebody who actually has credibility. They're not just positioning themselves as a credible person and, talking the talk, but they're actually walking the walk.
Right.
That's why it's so important to show up regardless of whether you are winning or losing, really. Because we all have days, like businesses ebbs and flows. And so the more you can just take people on a journey of what's going on, even on your bad days, and say, yeah, but I'm still showing up and I'm doing these things. That's compelling because it's honest, right? It's real. Yeah. And then number 3, consistent. So like I mentioned, not just consistently showing up and doing the do, but consistent in your messaging and consistent in your visibility. And when it comes to consistency, it's not just about ticking that off. Okay, I did my piece of content today, but it's about being consistent with who you're being. And that is something, it doesn't matter what business you're in a relationship business. If you're consistent in your relationships and the way you show up, people aren't going to trust you, right? You're not going to have that strong foundation. So consistency really, again, it builds that trust. People do business with people they don't like and trust. And then lastly is congruent. And that is your messaging needs to be congruent with, that vision, values, truths, perspectives. But it needs to be congruent with your brand. That is your brand, but it needs to be congruent also with who you're talking to in your audience, the messaging, and making sure that, whatever offers you have that you're wanting to bring in, like it all needs to fit together so people aren't confused, because confused might be nothing. So if your messaging, your brand isn't congruent, people aren't going to take action. And you want people to take action, right?
Yeah. So 4 C's. So
C's.
Clear, compelling, consistent, congruent. And we talked about this a lot. I think it was last week. Actually the last 2 weeks, to be honest with you. People get hung up on, they associate creating content with work, and they associate it with being arduous work. and oh, I got to create content. And what we alluded to and what I've seen over the years of coaching is the more that people take time to get clear on how we open this call, which is, what is that fundamental work of who they are and their brand essence, before all the fancy colors and the logos and all that shit. That in of itself gives oodles of flipping content that is at your fingertips. And I don't know about you, Joe, but for me, like I'm pretty clear on what I'm all about, and I very rarely do I struggle to create content. Very rarely. And I know you're the same. Some days what I do struggle with is, okay, how am I going to show up today? Do I, like Monday, I had one of those days on Monday where, man, I was getting kicked in the teeth, left, right, and center, and I shared it, and it was compelling because there was engagement and people were excited over the takeaways from it, because it wasn't just a woe is me. It was, hey, I struggle too. This is how I rerouted and went from uninspired to inspired action. And these are the tools that I used. And here I am now, guns blazing. So all of that though stems from me, right? It stems from doing the work,
It stems from doing the work. That's where the best content comes from. I tell my team this all the time. I'm like, when you are in activity, you're doing the work on the back ends, the stuff that the things that people don't see. That is where you can come to social media and you can talk about those things, because that's the work people need to be doing themselves.
That's right.
You can lead by example. And that is the sort of stuff that really inspires people. It's not just the wins. It's how did you overcome, those moments where you weren't feeling like you were winning, where you felt like you were getting kicked in the teeth. Because that's the truth. That's the journey, right? It's not all puppies and rainbows and butterflies and all that other stuff.
Yeah. And I think another thing, Joe, is a lot of people get caught up in thinking, because we use the term convert, like how to, create to convert. And at the end, we all have a service or a product that we want, and that we feel that will, be of contribution to those who choose to seek it. And yet that doesn't mean that every piece of content has to convert. It's not the intention with selling something.
Absolutely.
That term, right?
Yeah, it's support content, right? So whether it gets likes, whether it turns into something, it is about the support. It's the showing up. I have so many people who've joined my team or bought products from me who never once liked a video or a comment, or I've sent somebody a birthday message and they've said, hey, by the way, I watch all your videos and they're super inspiring. Well, I've never seen them in my notifications. You have no idea the impact that you're making just because you're not seeing that immediate result, right? That you're not getting that that affirmation. What did I post the other day? It was so good. Let me look through this.
It was so good. If I don't say something else.
So good, I can't even remember. It was Elon Musk. It was, what would you say to entrepreneurs who what words of encouragement would you give an entrepreneur? If you need words of encouragement, don't become an entrepreneur. If you need likes, if you want to be popular, don't create content. Your content should actually be a mix of things that people love, but it should also be polarizing. It should be things that make people question their beliefs. That's how you really find your tribe. That's how you find your people. That's how you find your diehard followers, right? And I don't mean being super controversial about politics or about religion or anything like that. I like to leave that stuff out of this space. The media takes care of talking about that enough for me. But I mean controversial stuff about your profession, raise questions. My mentor is great at this. He loves to call it out when it comes to talking about network marketing, about the shady stuff that people will do, the stuff that most people hide and don't want to talk about on social media. He puts it all out there. You get diehard fans, right? And then you find those people that will be your clients, not just one time, but they will be your clients for life. Every offer you put out, every new thing that you're doing, if you make a huge transition from a company to being a solopreneur, or I was with the company for 6 years, I transitioned into a new business 3 years ago. And people followed because of that content and that trust that I built in those relationships, right? Even when I sucked at content at that time. Even when I was being salesy and spammy, even though that wasn't my intention, but that's what it was coming across, right? Because I wasn't good at it, and you won't be good at it at the beginning. You have to practice, but you will get better at it. But if you don't know what you're doing, you can't show up with confidence, and you won't show up if you don't know the fundamentals of what creating content looks like. You know, your brand, your target audience, their pain points, how you serve them. Like, you need to know that stuff. That's what we're doing right now in my Attraction Marketing Challenge. We're going through some of those fundamentals of getting people set up with a solid strategy so they can show up confidently. And that confidence, that has a sound. Belief has a sound, right? People know when you're faking it.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I'd love to hear your opinion on this, because I do think you do this quite well, social media content creation is not a one-lane highway. We are multifaceted people behind it, right? And would you agree that the strategy in having a good social media campaign is also showcasing different sides of the brand, different sides of the person? Obviously, educational-based content is huge.
Yeah.
And also for you, like, I know, you're quite visible in terms of your life balance, not just your work, right? Like, you'll be on the slopes, you'll be enjoying a cocktail, be at the gym. I mean, you're kind of creating a lifestyle portrait of you in and out of business.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I mean, essentially that's what I sell. So when it comes down to it, like, yes, I sell affiliate programs and high ticket items. Yes, I sell products. Yes, I sell the opportunity for a key turnkey business. Yes, I have courses, mini courses, all those things. But essentially, at the end of the day, all of the things that I offer are around leverage. They're around systems. They're around working smarter, not harder. And they're around doing that in order to have a result, which is a lifestyle, to wake up when you're done sleeping, to be able to go skiing on a weekday, to be able to travel and work from anywhere, to be able to choose who you work with, to be able to say, nope, you know what? Life needs me today. I'm going to hang my life needs me sign because I'm not doing this. Or to go to the beach when you want to go to the beach. And that doesn't mean, I don't like the idea that people sell this idea of passive income, as in you can passively sit back and make an income. Like, don't buy that course, because that's not true.
I know, there is no such thing.
But yes, you can have a turnkey system, and you can have a blueprint, and you can have leverage, and you can make money when you're sleeping, and you can make money when you're living your life and you're skiing and you're doing all these other things. If you're doing the right things, social media, that's what's so brilliant about social media. I saw this vision, like, when Facebook fan pages first launched. I started my own fan page. It's called the JoJo Fan Club. I didn't actually have a business.
Oh,
I was serving tables at High's Steakhouse and putting myself through school. But I knew there was something going on with this. And I was like, I don't know. I'm just going to start a fan page and start a brand.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
I know, my roommate at the time, he's like, only you would start your own fan page, your own fan club.
Oh man.
Yeah, but it is important. And here's the other thing. Okay, one is you're selling a result, right? So if you're not living the results, that again ties into that compelling. And that's social proof, right? It's walking the walk. If you have the lifestyle, that showcases your success a lot more than claiming 10K months and six-figure incomes and stuff like that, right? Like, you're showing people, you're not just telling people. And then the other thing is that, you know what, you're finding like-minded people when you're sharing pieces of your life, your kids. Like, you know, when you're showing your kids, you immediately relate to other parents.
Mm-hmm.
When you're showing the activities that you love, you're immediately creating a bond with somebody else who loves to ski or who loves to row. You know, you immediately have something to talk about and something in common. And that's where relationships start, right? Is that common ground.
Yeah, good point. Good point. And ultimately, as you said, because this is about relationships.
Yeah.
And then the other person, the person on the other side of the camera, it's a relationship.
Yeah, 100%.
So moving forward, then, maybe share with our community, what are some JoJo tips and tricks or even some staples, like, because you hear different things. We hear it all the time. Oh, post once a day, post 5 times a day, post 10 times a week.
Mm.
There's all these different rhythms. Maybe just share a few little takeaways for people that are watching that might be able to take and implement.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to give you a little formula. 2 posts a day if you're working on Facebook. I do 2 posts. Actually, I don't even do 2 posts anymore on Instagram because it's not my main focus, but Facebook is really my ecosystem. So 2 posts a day, morning and evening. Test it out and see, depending on the time zone you're in or where your audience is. So I've got a lot of people like in Europe and the East Coast, Australia, and all over, right? So find your sweet spot, and then an evening post, and mix it up. Like, theme the days of the week. Maybe Mondays are Motivation Monday, Tip Tuesdays, Wellness Wednesdays, Thirsty Thursdays, Throwback Thursdays. Share a story about when you struggled on Thursdays. Feature Friday, Freebie Friday. Theme it, so then your brain starts to trigger ideas. And then you want to I personally recommend being in your stories and do at least 5 story clips throughout the day. And this is your kind of behind the scenes, right? So that means you don't have to post in your timeline, and it doesn't have to be super polished, but you want to do that every couple hours. So your little bubble goes to the front. And this is going to increase the engagement and the algorithm that you're getting on your timeline when you're bumping up your stories. So you're going to get more visibility on your content. So that's one hack. And then when it comes to, okay, well, what should I be doing in that? I don't have my strategy in place yet. I don't really know who my avatar is. I haven't done this work yet. Number one, my tip would be sign up for James and my course, because you need us. And we will solve that problem for you big time, and then some. But number 2 would be, I like to think of being the journeyman. And so just take people on a journey with you. People love personal brands. They like supporting businesses where they can get to know the person, right? Like, how often do you get to go to a big box store and know the person behind the scenes, right? And so, I teach my team this as they're getting started. Just share. I call it getting lit. And it's a really simple strategy to put in place. Go out, learn something new about your, a mindset or a skill set, something that's going to bring value into your business, and it's going to raise your value in your business. And then implement that strategy or whatever it is that you learned, get a result from it, and then turn around and teach it. And so share it with your audience. And some of the best ways to do this is, reading a book or watching a training. Or it's working in your business. Like, some of my best content comes from when I'm following up, because I'm getting great questions. Now I can use those questions to create a piece of content to help overcome my audience's objections before I have a conversation with them. Same thing, if you're on a podcast, if you're further ahead in your business and you get featured on shows, and that person asks you, well, obviously you're getting interviewed, so they're going to ask you a series of questions. Jot down those questions. You now have 5 pieces of content for the week.
Yeah, great point. Great point.
Yeah, don't overcomplicate it.
Right, because what we're going to talk about next week is arguably one of the most important things, which is consistency.
Yeah.
Right. That trumps the spending time and creating 1 or 2 amazing posts and then going silent for eons.
Well, exactly. People will give like their 10 best tips in one post. Well, you could do that, or you could do a Facebook Live with like 5 tips or 3 tips, and then you can take the other 7 tips and you can break them up for the other days of the week, right?
Mm-hmm. And
these are all strategic.
Yeah.
And if you have the work done, you do these things, you're never going to run out of things to talk about. You're never going to run out of content.
That's right. And that's basically the crux of this program, gang, is this is all about strategy. It's all about understanding what we've been talking about for 3 weeks. And also with Johanna coming in with, we talked, she was setting up the themes of the week, if you will, and all of that. Those are things that she's created. So she has a workflow that she's been working with clients for a long time. And of course, with my kind of strategic lens and really kind of uncovering who you are, what makes you stand out, how to create, really great content that's congruent, not only with you, but will land with your ideal clients, and really building that mindset and that inner game to step out and do the things that you want to do. And Joe, so in terms of the program, we'll share with them. The program is launching at the end of February,
mm-hmm.
and we're actually basically going live with it now, if you will. If anybody's interested in finding out more, just put your name in the comment, and we will send you some information. We're just finishing fine-tuning a few things on our end. But what I thought I'd do, Joe, to wrap this up is just maybe share with them. I'll just walk them through an outline of what they're going to get.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So it's designed to roll out over 6 weeks. And first, it's a series of one-on-one coaching sessions and a series of group sessions. So the itinerary looks something like this. Week 1 is you have a session with J&J, 2 of us, and we're going to get in and we're going to really break down what it is you're struggling with, getting a finger on the pulse of who you are and what you really want to do. Mm-hmm. Then we're going to go in. The next week will be a one-on-one session with me. At the end of week 2, we have a group session. So then Joe and I will educate our community on a group session. And so there's that. And then we go into week 3, which will be a one-on-one session with Joe. Week 4, a one-on-one session with me again. And at the end of week 4 is the second group session as well. And then we get into week 5, which will be the last session with Joe. And then we will end it with our final group session. So as you can see, there's a shit ton of content in there and a shit ton of value of one-on-one coaching and a group supportive format as well. So
yes. Plus you'll get the templates for things that I've set up as far as like CRM process, tracking.
Yeah.
And content through Trello, and the worksheets as far as the visibility guide, things that I actually sell. These will all be things that will be included in the program. And we're not just going to, give you concepts and then a worksheet and say, off you go figure it out yourself. We're actually going to roll up our sleeves and we're going to work through these with you. And, so you'll have some great support.
Yeah, and that's a really good distinction to make. Is this program is really a work through program. It's hands on. It's not 2 people on a podium just speaking.
Exactly. That's why we've limited the spaces as well. That we're not taking on as many people as can possibly we could broadcast it to a large group, but we want to do that one-on-one work. And I've had so many requests for people who want that hand holding. This is that opportunity to have more of that hand holding, not just mentorship, but actual coaching.
Yeah, great stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, gang. So stay tuned on that. We'll be following up and engaging with you all. Obviously, we'll be back next Wednesday, same time, 11 a.m. PST. And we're going to talk about consistency and the compound effect. Any parting words there, JoJo?
No, just have a fantastic Wednesday and crush it. Whatever you're doing. If you don't feel like you're crushing it, well, just take a little step back. Take 15 minutes to do something that, fills your cup. If you're struggling to put a piece of content out today, don't sit at your desk and force it. Just go out for a little walk or put some music on and dance it out, and then handle it like a boss.
Handle it. All right. Love it. Speaking of which, I'm going to be doing the same because I have about a 20-minute break before my next meeting. I'm going to crank some tunes.
Same.
Bust out the air guitar. Little power stance.
Love it. I'll leave you in charge of music next week.
Nice. All right. Thanks for tuning in, gang. All right. We'll see you soon. Cheers.
Bye, guys. See ya.